Hi, I'm Cathy. I'm an alcoholic. Yeah. And I've been through these steps with this big book, Step Study sponsor, who is patient and loving, and patient and loving higher power. I'm working on my living amends. I've made my formal and financial amends. And trying to work the ladder steps and all the steps to the best of my willingness on a daily basis. Wow, so when I read this today, that was as we started getting toward the end, I just got that feeling like, wow, there's a lot in this. And it just brought to light for me looking at my past and what I was like back then. And I get pretty anxious when I speak. I know a lot of us do. I have to keep some tools in my toolbox real close to me. One of them that I use is, higher power be in my mind, in my words, in my heart. A little trick that I've used lately is just put my hand on my heart and just, feel my breath coming in and out and realize that God is that close to me. He's right there. And when I feel that warmth of my hand, that's my higher power right there helping me. I can breathe in faith and breathe out fear. And so I just need to keep that in the forefront of my mind so I can speak and try to make some kind of sense for you guys. Reading through this today, I thought of many times in my life when I was drinking that my life was unmanageable. And some of those stories came to mind, and I thought, wow, I forget how my bottom was, and I forget sometimes what a gift it is to be here and the grace of God in my life. Just reading through here, several things jumped out, and I like that they used the word smashed. Smash that idea home. And I feel that the concept that I am an alcoholic and that I'm powerless over my alcoholism has been smashed home to me. I have no doubt in my mind, left to my own willingness or my own, I can't think of the right word, I would drink. And so I need all of you, and I need these rooms, and I need my higher power to keep me sober. This year was my 34th anniversary, and I'm happy about that, but I feel like it's a day at a time. It's a day at a time, and I try not to let the years get in the way of the days, as was told to me long ago. And one of the things that really helps me to want to keep my sobriety is just thinking of my kids. My kids have never seen me drink, and I would never want my two girls to see me the way I used to be. And I can remember sharing at this meeting, and my kids were getting older, because those who have known me for years know that they used to come here with me when they were like 3 and 6, I think, or maybe even younger than that. And so as time went on and they got into their teenage years, I started thinking about, oh my God, what I was doing at those years, and how I was, and how unmanageable my life was. And I can remember that I would be, drinking and not really think much of going outside, getting sick, like emptying out my stomach because it didn't feel good because I had drank so much, and coming back into the apartment I was partying in and thinking, great, fresh stomach, I can keep on going, and thought that was normal, And I can think of some, not too proud moments of, I remember being sick with a cold or something, and a friend of mine and her boyfriend and this other guy wanted to go out drinking, and they wanted me to go, and I didn't want to go. And I think at that time, I had already had my DUI, and I was thinking about, maybe there's a problem here. And I went out with them, and I decided that if I drank Southern Comfort, that would be good for my cold. And the night went on, and she kept trying to buddy me up with this guy, and I wanted nothing to do with him, and I just wanted to party and drink and whatever. And I remember when I was reading through this today, and it says, I had a shadowy recollection. And I thought, I had many shadowy recollections. And I had a shadowy recollection of asking for a ride home. And then I remember in the morning waking up, and I was on this dead-end road or whatever with this guy in the van, and he was happy to see me. So I realized that somewhere along the line I changed my mind about going home or whatever happened, and that shadowy recollection of what really happened, I don't know. And I had to act like that was my choice, because I didn't want to act like what happened. I didn't want to act like I blacked out and didn't know what happened, so then I had to act like this was my choice. And I think of those times like that, and I think, my Lord, I would never want my girls to be in that kind of situation, and how dangerous and everything, the chances that I took. I can remember, drugs are a part of my story, and I didn't want them to be a part of my story. I started out as a drinker. I had a family member who often asked me about getting high, and I kept saying no, and finally I said yes. And nothing happened. I didn't get high, and I was mad. So then I tried a few more times. I felt the effects of marijuana, and I was like, wow, that's what it's like? And I was off and running. And so then at that point, I just asked you if it worked. If you had something I hadn't tried, does it work? Meaning, does it alter my perception of reality? Because I did not want to be in reality at all, any of the time. As a teenager, I wanted to be somewhere else. And yeah, so I ended up getting into that scene, and I remember taking stuff and not knowing until I got sober in the program that it was angel dust that I took. And being lost in somebody's front yard. I mean, a little front yard, like as big as the parking lot that we park in out there, and I didn't know where I was. So I think of all those things, and I'm like, yeah, okay, the unmanageability, it was definitely there. And just as we were reading through this today, I just felt like, wow, I could so identify. And it says, what sort of thinking dominates an alcoholic who repeats time after time the desperate experiment of the first drink? And to me, for today, I don't know, I was reading this and all of this just seems so simple. Like, what is he thinking? He's thinking it'll be different. He's thinking it'll be different. Many times I went out and did the same thing all over again because I thought it'll be different, And then this paragraph that we read about the guy when he does the stopping at the little place to sell a car and the I. And I know he talks about himself a lot there, but what that paragraph says to me is that he just lies to himself. When you start reading through the sentences, he just lies to himself again and again and again throughout the whole story. And, when we were doing the work, one of the big things that came out of the work for me was that I lied to myself all the time. I had this thing of not being able to see people and situations as they really were. And then I would get resentful about it. And I have to watch for that today. There are times today where I will still lie to myself and I still won't see things as they really are. So I have to be aware of that. We come into Big Book Step Study, we learn a lot, we get these tools, we learn how to do turnarounds and all this kind of stuff. But I have to be in this all the time. I have to be keeping my higher power close. I have to be watching things that I used to do that got me to the writing, because I'm still capable of doing those same things, those defects of character or whatever. So I don't come here and get cured. I don't come here and get cured. I come here and I find out how to get a hold of some spiritual tools. I find out about how to keep myself in check, go into my higher power many, many times during the day. Many, many times during the day. Let me see. Yeah, just again, when he talks about As soon as I regained my ability to think, I went carefully over that evening in Washington. Not only had I been off guard, I had made no fight whatever against the first drink. And that's what I have to keep in the forefront of my mind. There's no guarantee for me. I have to always be aware that I'm an alcoholic and not feel like, I have a certain amount of time, so I won't drink again. I don't feel like that. I feel like I'm eligible too, So I have to do these things. And he says, this time I had not even thought of the consequences at all. And I've met people in the program that's happened to, I had commenced to drink as carelessly as though the cocktails were ginger ale. I now remember that what my alcoholic friend had told me and how they prophesized that if I had an alcoholic mind, the time and place would come, I would drink again. So I know I keep repeating myself, but that's just so important to me that I know in my soul that I'm an alcoholic and that I can't drink again. And when I know those things, when I know that I'm an alcoholic and I can't drink again, what can I do about that? Well, I can ask for help, and I can come to meetings, and I can, turn to my higher power, work these steps. I felt like there was something more I was going to say. Let me just slow down for a minute. It's funny, because during the week, I thought about coming here to share, and I thought, I should call Karen and ask her what step it is. And then I thought, no, if I call her and I ask her what step it is, then I'm going to try to be thinking about what I'm going to say. And then I thought, I kind of think it's on unmanageability. And I thought, that's perfect. That's perfect. And many times when I sit up here, and especially when I see Dave come in, I think about, it was several years ago, but he had asked me to speak in Leominster, and I was up there speaking, and I think I was trying to, when I was sitting here today, I was thinking, okay, when you get up to speak, who's going to win, the ego or God? The ego or God? And I was up there speaking in Leominster, and it came out of my mouth. I only lied when I had to, talking about when I was drinking. And I don't know what it was about that day, but it hit me square between the eyes. And here I was at the podium sitting, and I had this moment of truth, oh my God, that's not okay. And I realized that I did it, when I was active. I only lied when I had to. And I thought about, the times where I would go out partying, and then I would be coming in the walk, and I'm young, I'm like 15, 16, whatever, and I would just do whatever I wanted to do that night. And then on the way in the walk, I would think up a whopper of a story in case I had to talk to my mom. And I had justified in my mind that was okay, because she didn't really want to know where I was, because that wouldn't be good for her to know. And and as I was sitting there with Dave and I said that, I realized, wow, am I still doing that today? And that's what I mean about, being diligent, being on my toes, and trying to see myself as I really am. And do I have times today where, I'm only lying because I feel I have to? Am I still doing that? And it brings me, to this very moment, like today when, I was getting up, I was getting ready to come here. I was going to meet someone and do some reading before this meeting. And I had an errand that I needed to run that I tried to do last night. It didn't work out. And so I needed to do it this morning. So I needed to get up earlier if I was to do this. And then I didn't. I didn't get up earlier. And so I started getting ready. My daughter was getting ready for work. And I asked her to do this thing for me. And she had that 17-year-old, really kind of face. And she didn't want to do it. And so I didn't want to ask her to do it because I felt like she didn't want to, and I didn't want to kiss her butt to have her do it, was my feeling this morning, And then the next thought in my mind was more things I was going to say to her that would have just made her feel bad and guilty. And this program gives me the ability to like stop short and step back and think, like, what are you doing? Like, what are your motives right now? You're going to make this kid feel bad because you didn't get up early and you couldn't do this. And those are the things that this program gives me to use on a daily basis, you know, to just stop and think about what I'm doing first. Go to God and say, you know, what are your real motives here? You don't want to own the fact you didn't get up on time. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, that to me just kind of goes in with that unmanageability, you know. I can still do it today. So I need your help, and I need God's help, and I thank you guys for being here today.